It's never a dull day in the crypto market, my friends. SEC Chair Gary Gensler went on TV today and said Bitcoin is a commodity, doubling down, but he didn't mention Ethereum and other coins. Now, specifically Ethereum, he didn't mention because of the SEC lawsuit. Also, big updates around FTX and potentially Sam Bankman-Fried acquiring Robinhood and also them bailing out BlockFi and Morgan Creek, looking to stop that, and a lot of drama today. And also, there's updates around Goldman Sachs potentially looking to buy Celsius Network. And hedge funds are trying to crash the hell out of Tether, USDT, the stablecoin. Let's break it down. Welcome back to the Thinking Crypto podcast, your home for cryptocurrency news and interviews. If you are new here, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button, as well as a thumbs up button, and leave a comment below. If you're listening on a podcast platform, please give me a 5-star rating. Quick word from our sponsor, and that is Link2, which makes private equity investment easy. Link2 is democratizing the process and allowing accredited investors to be able to get equity and shares into companies pre-IPO. And this includes tech companies and crypto companies. So you have the opportunity, like the venture capital firms and the hedge funds, to double dip, to buy the tokens, which many of you already hold, and as well as get a equity investment into these different crypto companies that are building the infrastructure. So you can make money on both sides, because we know this market is growing, this industry is growing, and we're still very early. Some of the crypto companies Link2 has in their portfolio includes Ripple, BitPay, Dapper Labs, Uphold, Abra, and many more, and they continue to expand their portfolio. So this is a great opportunity, once again, to double dip, just like the institutional players. So be sure to check out Link2, link in the description. If we look at the market here, not much happening. Bitcoin back below 21,000. It is not really doing much, still looking for that bottom. So nothing to report on the price. However, guys, I tweeted out today, I said there is a high probability we haven't seen the bottom yet. There are too many ticking time bombs in the market right now, which could explode and drive us further down. For example, the Three Arrow Capital, Celsius, and potentially Tether. And I say potentially because we're going to talk a bit about the news around Tether, but there are a lot of things that are on a not solid footing and could collapse, right? Specifically Celsius, and that could be really bad. And, Voyager this morning, it was reported that Voyager Digital has issued a default notice on Three Arrow Capital for failure to repay a loan of 15,250 Bitcoin and $350 million in USDC. So not looking good. And these items could be catalysts to drive the price down. So let's just be prepared for all types of scenarios. Could we have potentially hit the bottom? Sure. Is there a probability that we can go further down and these items here could potentially cause that collapse of the price downwards? Absolutely. So just be mentally prepared for this. I'm looking at all these different scenarios, and I also have some dry powder on the side ready to buy the dips. And of course, I'm a long-term holder. And yes, I do some swing trading, but majority of my holdings are long-term. Now, Gary Gensler went on TV today, my friends, and he's doubled down that Bitcoin is a commodity. He was talking to Jim Cramer and kind of, giving his same old dog and pony show, and saying that a lot of the crypto assets are securities and they're highly speculative and yada, yada. Michael Saylor tweeted out the following with regards to what Gensler had to say, and he shared the video here. He said, Bitcoin is a commodity, which is essential for any treasury reserve asset. This allows politicians, agencies, governments, and institutions to support Bitcoin as a technology and digital asset to grow the economy and extend property rights and freedom to all. Now, that's fine and dandy for Bitcoin. Bitcoin has the clarity, but what about the entire crypto market? There are thousands of coins out there, and yes, some of them are scams, and yes, some of them will die, but there are legit projects out there. Bitcoin is not the only asset in this crypto asset class, right? Only an idiot would believe that and say that, or they are highly biased because they only hold Bitcoin. Nevertheless, the reality of the situation is there are multiple digital assets in the crypto market. Now, one thing Gary Gensler did not speak on was Ethereum. while his predecessors have said Ethereum is not a security and it is a commodity. Now, want to guess why he did not talk about Ethereum and he has refused to lately? The SEC Ripple lawsuit. He knows the conflicts of interest with Bill Hinman and the Ethereum Alliance. He knows about it, and that's why he's avoiding that. He's just going to talk about Bitcoin. So Eleanor Tourette of Fox Business tweeted out the following in response to Gensler's appearance on TV. She said, "This is the second time in a month Gary Gensler has stated Bitcoin classifies as a commodity that should fall under the jurisdiction of the CFTC. He says, my predecessors and others have said they are a commodity. His predecessors also said Ethereum is a commodity." Yeah, but notice he won't really say anything, right, guys? He just kind of just staying silent on that. And once again, it's because of the Ripple lawsuit. Eleanor says, "It's interesting that he refuses to acknowledge ETH status publicly, but has privately agreed with Senator Gillibrand and Senator Lummis' assertions that Ethereum is a commodity. Talk about confusion. Is this what Brad Garlinghouse meant by living in legal purgatory?" Absolutely. This is the double standard, the conflicts of interest. We know Hinman, 15 million reasons. Clayton approved it and stamped it with his stamp of approval for Hinman to give that speech. And Commissioner Jackson and many of the folks at the SEC kept referencing Bill Hinman's speech and that it was gospel. Now they're trying to distance themselves, trying to call him a crazy old man, the drunk uncle, don't listen to him. But we saw the judge in the Ripple lawsuit call out the SEC's hypocrisy. You can't have it both ways. You can't say in one instance that this speech is the drunk uncle Bill Hinman, and then next say it's our gospel, it's our 10 commandments, right? So it's just unbelievable that this is a government agency. It's pathetic. It's disgusting. I can't believe this is where my tax dollars are going. And I think the pressure is mounting on Gensler, as we've talked about, members of Congress, people in the crypto industry, retail investors, right? And now, the mainstream media, such as folks from Fox Business and so forth. So it's certainly not looking good for Gensler. And I think as things progress, we're going to see that pressure mount. And Gensler is asking for more budget to help regulate the market and so forth. It's just a mess right now. It's just crazy. Now, Sam Bankman-Fried, he did weigh in on this. He said, to be clear, he said Bitcoin, he's talking about Gary Gensler, was the only cryptocurrency he was comfortable saying was a commodity, while many were securities. It didn't address explicitly what all others were. Here's a quote. That's the only one I'm going to say because I'm not going to talk about one of these tokens. So even folks in the industry are calling him out, right? And Sam is like obviously high profile. Obviously, he's a billionaire, has one of the largest exchanges doing mass marketing. Him and his team are also lobbying and doing a lot of advocacy work in DC to get crypto regulations. So it's look who's calling him out, right? It's CEOs of exchanges and so forth. They know what's up. They know Gensler is playing this stupid game. And recently, Gensler also said that he's going to propose a one rule book crypto regulation. So this was in a recent interview, and it was reported that he wants that one rule book for regulation of crypto assets. And he said, if this industry is going to take any path forward, it will build some better trust in these markets, said Gensler. Now, we have to see what this rule book is, because it could be draconian, right? And it could pick winners and losers and not be fair, because you cannot use the outdated Howey test from 1940 something or 30 something. That is ridiculous. Those people, they couldn't fathom a token on a blockchain network globally distributed, right? So they have to provide an updated Howey test, and it could be called a digital asset test, whatever. They can name it whatever the hell they want. They just need to update it and make sure that the rules are clear. Right now, he's operating by regulation, by enforcement, clearly, right? And that is just asinine. It's pathetic to be doing something like that. Put out the clear rules of the road, and then you go policing, right? But if you don't put the law, then people don't know what the hell to do. And once again, this is a new technology. You cannot use that Howey test to regulate crypto and digital assets, which are globally distributed. They are a lot of the tokens are on the blockchain in other countries. So how can you use a U.S. law to regulate, crypto assets which are moving through the pipeline that is global, right? So once again, I think the pressure is going to continue to mount. I don't know what's going to happen with Democrats in the midterm elections coming later this year and what that means for Gensler, but he's going to be in big trouble if Democrats lose. Now, there's obviously other political things happening in the world and in the United States, and we will see what happens. But nevertheless, the pressure is mounting. More members of Congress are coming on board and pushing. And once again, they're sending letters to him. They're calling him out on Twitter. I've shared a lot of examples of this. Let's move ahead. So there's reports, and Goldman Sachs, I believe they did deny this, but I don't think this is a rumor. I think this is certainly interesting and could very much be true. Goldman Sachs wants to raise $2 billion to buy Celsius assets in the event of a bankruptcy. Of course they are. We've seen these guys and the chess game they're playing. They put out a narrative, crypto sucks, crypto's going to zero, it's a scam. Then they start offering crypto trading to their wealthy clients, right? And start making investments. And of course, they're going to try to acquire Celsius, one of the biggest lending platforms out there. Right now, the valuations are down because of the bear market and also, the problems that they're having overall as a company. Goldman Sachs is going to swoop in like a hawk and try to grab up Celsius. So while they may declare or put out statements, we don't think so. I think there's definitely where there's smoke, there's fire, and I think there's some this has some legs to it. So we'll see what happens as things progress. There was a report, and I don't know if it's true. This could be entirely false, but there was a report that Alex Mashinsky was held up at an airport because he was trying to leave the country to go to Israel. I don't know if that's true. So once again, I don't know if that's true, but we'll see what happens. I think we got to give this some time. My hope is that Celsius does not collapse, because that will put a lot of pressure on the price and we could see some very low prices. This time is very different, guys. Here's why. The 2018-2019 bear market did not have a recession looming, did not have record-breaking inflation, did not have the Fed pumping rates up, right, to help control the inflation and so forth, did not have a war in Ukraine and coming out of pandemic. So there's just a lot of things happening right now. So we don't need more bad news or bad black swan events, right, guys? And let's hope Celsius does not collapse. If they get bought up, I would prefer that. Nexo buys them, Goldman Sachs buys them, versus a complete collapse where there's mass liquidations and all kinds of drama, guys. Now here's some not so great news from Coinbase, and I really, really don't like this. Look, I have some Coinbase stock, and I have a long-term view on that stock, right? I believe that it will rebound as the market rebounds, because we've seen the price of Coinbase stock move with Bitcoin in the crypto market. Well, Charles Gasparino of Fox Business says this morning, Coinbase has conflicting answers on what happens to customer money in bankruptcy, which means depositors should consider the worst case. The coin stock debt trades at 66 cents on the dollar. That's 11% yield. You are essentially long debt in Chapter 11 along with other creditors. So, guys, Coinbase really has to confirm this. And I'm going to warn you guys right now. And I started doing this. Whatever little crypto I had on the exchanges for swing trading and so forth, I'm taking it off, guys. I don't know what the hell is going on with Coinbase. They're a publicly traded company. They have a lot of public interaction. Brian Armstrong of Coinbase, the CEO, he tweets a lot. But then they have this weird verbiage that they can take your assets if they go bankrupt. And that is bullshit. We got to call it like it is. That is not good. The customer assets should be protected and separate from any type of bankruptcy or insolvency. So just keep an eye on this. And, certainly in this bear market, just pull all your crypto off the exchanges, guys, and put it in a hardware wallet. I have the majority of my crypto in a hardware wallet, so I'm not worried, but I have a little bit on exchanges, once again, that I use for swing trading and Sometimes I buy the dip and I keep it on there for a little bit, and then I'll remove it. But I'm not playing any games right now, man. This not looking good. And look, other exchanges could be in the same boat. So just be careful out there, guys, with your assets. Now, there's rumors today that FTX and Sam Bankman-Fried were going to buy Robinhood. And if you guys recall, when Sam bought a stake in Robinhood in May, I said, look, this was not some random move by Sam here. This is a strategic move. FTX is trying to acquire these companies as the valuations are down. Very smart business move on Sam's part. And he's looking to expand his footprint with the exchange. Well, he did come out and say, hey, there's no talks of M&A, but there are possible partnerships. So we'll see where things go, but it wouldn't surprise me. Look, even a year from now, he changes his mind and buys Robinhood, guys. I would if I was him right now. Obviously, I don't have all the details, the financial details, the infrastructure and so forth. But Robinhood is established, has a huge customer base, includes stocks and crypto. FTX acquiring would be super smart. And once again, it just grows their user base and footprint for a company that's already established. And once again, valuations are down because of the bear market, right? This is a smart time to do it. Now, Robinhood stock pumped on this news. But once again, Sam came out and said, nah, we're not trying to do any M&A here. But it's easy for them to change their mind, guys, and it would be a very smart move. Now, FTX, if you guys recall, we reported they did a $250 million injection into BlockFi to help save them. Well, Morgan Creek is trying to counter FTX BlockFi bailout, leaked call shows. Morgan Creek, I've interviewed Mark Yusko, great guy. Certainly look up to him, learned a lot from him. And Morgan Creek also has Anthony Pompliano with them. And they do a lot of crypto investing. Well, it looks like there's a tug of war happening here. And let me give you the details. Cryptocurrency investment firm Morgan Creek is attempting to raise $250 million from investors to purchase a majority stake in crypto lender BlockFi, a leaked call from Tuesday reveals. Morgan Creek's plan to rapidly assemble an equity offer was hatched in response to crypto exchange FTX Tuesday announcement that it would extend a $250 million credit line to BlockFi. Morgan Creek Digital declined to comment. A person with knowledge of the effort said there are multiple venture capital firms that are exploring ways to provide equity financing to BlockFi as a lender struggles to stay afloat. So interesting move. And it's kind of like, some of these institutional guys are kind of in competition now to grab up these companies, which once again, the valuations are lower. Some of them are struggling clearly. And we'll see what happens with that. Now, I did want to, it looks like I removed my Tether news tweet here. I want to pull it up for you guys because it was revealed that hedge funds are trying to short the hell out of Tether to crash it, similar to what they did to USDT. Excuse me, not UST, the Tether stablecoin. But Paolo Ardonio, if I'm saying that, Ardino, who's the CTO at Bitfinex and the CTO at Tether, he cleared up this. And the great thing about Paolo, he's been very transparent and he responds to FUD right on Twitter. And I got to respect that. So Tether, they get hit with a lot of FUD, but he always puts out information, so he's not running from it. There's no silence, there's no hiding from these things, and he's addressing it. So the news broke that hedge funds have targeted Tether, borrowing hundreds of millions in loans to short USDT since the Terra Luna collapse. And Paulo's tweeted out, it's a long thread, so I'm just going to read a couple of things. I have been open about the attempts from some hedge funds that were trying to cause further panic on the market after Terra Luna collapse. It really seemed from the beginning a coordinated attack with a new wave of FUD, troll armies, and clowns, etc. He says, tools, USDT/USD perps, the perfect attack vector that offers a an asymmetric bet. Spot short selling, DeFi pools unbalancing gold create enough pressure in the billions, causing tons of outflow to harm Tether liquidity and eventually buy back tokens at a much lower price. These hedge funds believe and helped all the FUD spread by the truthers, in the past months/years. They believe that Tether was and is not 100% backed. They believe that Tether has/had exposure to Evergrande. They believe that Tether has and had 85% exposure to Chinese CP. So he continues, and once again, there's a lot of people who spread a lot of FUD, and many of them are different crypto communities who are anti-Tether, anti-Bitcoin. But if these people are being investigated and they provide the evidence and they're openly addressing things like this, I got to respect that. And I got to, certainly, give credence to that, because they're addressing the FUD head on and giving details. I mean, he's clearly highlighting what the strategies are that the hedge funds are using. So, and I've said many times, hedge funds also put out narratives. They go on CNBC, they pay for articles. If they're trying to short something, they'll put out negative news. Not to say the news, there's not any credence to it, but they'll sensationalize things and over exaggerate and just to have sell pressure and have people sell that asset and run from it while they're shorting and they make their money. So interesting. And I once again, much respect to these guys for coming out and addressing it. And look, the NYAG had gone after them, then they settled. So it seems like Tether, they may have had some issues in the past, but they've gotten their books together. So looks like things are okay here, and they know what the hedge funds are doing, and they're counteracting here. And very, very interesting drama, to say the least. Anyway, guys, that's the news. Let me know what you think. Goldman Gary Gensler at it again, but we know he's not standing on strong footing right now, and a lot will be determined by the midterm elections this year for crypto. But I do think crypto is here to stay. I'm bullish long term. I believe we'll get the regulations. It's just going to be a fight. It's going to be tough. It's going to be a bit painful. Government moves so slow. So we just got to be patient, guys. And the good thing, though, is that we're in a bear market. So they take their time through the bear market. And by the time the next bull market comes around, maybe they have the clear regulations and we can have a blast off. Maybe we get a Bitcoin spot ETF approved, we get the full clarity that we need, and we'll see what happens. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think. Leave your thoughts and comments below. Hit the thumbs up button, share this video, and I'll talk to you all later.